Episode 192 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our supporters. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/thewilderness-podcast. So I want to welcome Andrew Nickel and Chandler to the Patreon crew this week. And a special shout out to our top tier supporters, Gentinu, Spleemo, Szechuan, Strosity, Mallard, Twisted Soul, J Blast, Z Space, and Chandler. If Patreon's not your thing, but you still want to support the show, you can head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz instead. So thank you to Caradoc, MF Hugh, and G666 for keeping me caffeinated this week. And of course, thank you so much to Battle Staffs, Anels, Chick, and Should've for boosting our Discord server, giving us that 1080p for video streaming. All right, let's get on over to the episode. Welcome to episode 192 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dilz, and joining with me today is Heartless.
How's it going? What's going on, Dilz?
Oh, we got some stuff to talk about. We got a Gielinor Gazette for November. But Gielinor Gazette is basically just like a newsletter they do, which sounds like it should be monthly, but it's 100% not monthly. It's kind of like whenever they feel like it, which is fine. I can kind of sympathize with that. But anyways, they talk about some stuff. We get a little bit of an update to the next rewards. Again, it's funny. Whenever we get like this new piece of content with a whole bunch of rewards tied to it, there's like, it feels like blog after blog after blog after blog, which is, I think it's good for like the hardcore players who care, but I think maybe for the casuals it might seem overwhelming. But anyways, this little update, there's not a whole lot going on there. They're just kind of addressing some things. We got Premier Club, which is basically a special on membership. If you're someone like, for me, I actually do purchase Premier Club whenever it comes available for the most part, because my main is like forever it's forever remembered, so I always buy like a year and you save some money. So if you're someone like that typically plays a lot, or there's like, if you do quit, it's only gonna be for like a month or two, it's sometimes kind of worth it for this Premier stuff. But
yeah,
it can be a lot up front. And then some wilderness changes, some very small. This sounds like last episode. We're talking about all the same stuff.
It's gonna be a hard repeat of last episode.
Yeah. It's some even more smaller changes to the wilderness. But yeah, that's what's going on with you. That's Jagex and RuneScape. What's up with Heartless?
Oh man, like I was honestly, I haven't done much this week. Whenever I've got a chance to play, I've been doing quite a lot of raids with the boys. We've been getting into like speed running.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Nice.
Yeah, the other night, I think it was Friday night, maybe like 10 o'clock. They already had a 5-man team, so I figured I would do some solo raids because I'm getting pretty close to 500 KC. And my first one went pretty well. It went I was really quick. And the next one, I was taking my time, and I hit the chat box.
Of course, is what you do. You hide the chat box so that you don't like know what it is. You get the purple text, you get that excitement, and then you open it up to see what you got. And usually it's followed by disappointment. But
of course. So what happened was I got a collection. So if you didn't know, in the Chambers of Zerk, when you get a unique, you don't get a collection log pop up because they know that people like to hide the chat box.
True.
So the items the actual uniques don't pop up. So you can like do like a fade out walk or whatever to the chest. But that's not true for all the items. So I got a pop-up notification because I got the omelet, the pet.
Oh, that's
okay.
Sick.
So I see the omelet follow me in the chat pop-up, and I start to get excited. I'm like, oh, that means I got a purple. And sure enough, I twist my camera over because you have to get a purple to roll the omelet. So whenever you roll a purple, it's 1 in 53 to get the pet. So there we go. 1 month, I've gotten both raids pets. Absolute spoon on pets recently. And then I was just by myself. There was no one with me in chat. I roll up to the chest. I open it up. Twisted bow inside.
No.
Yeah, a twisted bow. And I just started to lose it, man. I started to freak out. I couldn't breathe. I was just like,
what time of day was it? Was it like late at night?
It was like midnight. So it was like super late. No. I just kept going, oh. I just like lost it. And
what time would you typically go to bed on that night?
I was probably going to send 2, Usually between midnight and 1 is when I fall asleep on the weekend.
Okay. So now, what time did you end up staying up till?
It was 498, so I stayed up till like 2 in the morning. So not too much longer.
Oh, okay, but still an hour-long adrenaline rush.
The affectionately known as the bonelet, when you get the twisted bow with the omelet, just like unbelievably rare, like literally the best drop you could get.
Yeah, legit, right? There's
obviously twisted bow is just so broken and just so rare, man. Like I just didn't expect to get one. You know, I definitely would have grinded more for it, but what a drop, what insane. A feeling. It's
wow.
It was better than the Ellie, I think, because the twisted bows is so much more useful.
The Ellie's cool, yeah, but like
Ellie's huge flex, but it's not really useful.
Would a lot of and I did this, a lot of mains do it, or at least they used to do it. I'm sure they still do. They do the twisted bow rebuild where because it costs probably about 800 mil now, but it was upwards of $1 billion before. And what people do is when they get near $1 billion or so, they sell everything in their bank, and they basically sell everything and buy the twisted bow because one, grinding out $1 billion GP, that's an absurd number.
It's big money, yeah.
That's a lot of money, but it's easier to sell all your stuff and then grind for like 10 mil drops again. You know, the primordials or whatever it is, Dragon Warhammer. Those are a lot.
It's pretty fun, right? To go from like grinding for huge items to going to get your cheap items back. So the progression feels really quick.
You get to shred because the twisted bow is, well, you know now, right?
Oh, baby. I've never used one before, Dilz. I used it on the tournament worlds with iron arrows accidentally on accurate to practice triple jets. And even then I thought it was good. Sick. But yeah, I tested it out a little bit in some challenge modes, and holy shit, does that thing slap. Seeing like the 500 XP drops when you hit a 90 is just,
oh wow.
Man, it's never going to get old, man. So yeah. I'm officially just an ultimate spoon account at this point. Doesn't matter that I went dry at Zulrah or, you know, medium clues. Who cares? I've gotten lucky on the big items. And I've said it before, like on an Iron Man, if you play enough and you grind a lot of PVM, eventually you'll get good drops. But you just have to kind of cross your fingers that the RNG will roll correctly at the right places. And oh man, has it ever rolled correctly for me. I'm just so grateful that I've gotten lucky on the big items.
Yeah, that's insane. I know I missed it when it happened. I actually forgot when we were recording. I was like, oh, and then you mentioned you were saying solos, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. Because I was like, now I kind of remember. So I had to script it a little bit. I came on the next day and people were talking about your bowlet. I was like, what the hell? I thought it was like some meme or something, you know, some D's nuts meme dropping on you. And then I went on Discord and saw it, and I was like, are you friggin' kidding me? Like that. Like one of those alone is super insane, and then both of them together is just like
it's like 1 in a million. You know, it's just like it just doesn't happen to people. I've only known 2 people that have ever gone on Bonelet before, and they're both Venezuelan.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. It's obviously like a very fabled drop. So yeah. I don't even want to work out the odds. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, of course. That's crazy. Well, so congrats. That's sick.
Thanks, man. No, I'm honestly so happy. Like Twisted Bow, like I do want a scythe, but Twisted Bow is the bigger item. It just puts in so much work at so many different places.
Yeah, and it's so much more like iconic. Like, yeah, the scythe is good, but it's very expensive to use, and it's very good in certain areas, even though Twisted Bow kind of is as well. But there's no charges with the Twisted Bow, so it feels more like you just shoot your arrow and you're good to go.
Exactly. Like it does have a real cost for me because I don't have infinite dragon arrows.
Right. So how do you get dragon arrows?
So there's basically 2 ways. Well, there's 3 ways actually. So the first way is from dragon implings. So I've been collecting those over the years, and I ended up getting about 1,000 over 2 years, which is not very many.
No.
And then I've gotten. Yeah. Let me double check. I think I was about 4,000 from Chambers themselves. So if you just use the bow at Chambers, it will go. What's it called? It will like upkeep itself, so you won't have to worry about losing out on any. Mm-hmm. And then I've also got an extra 5,000 from Gauntlet. So I have 9,000 dragon arrows, which is a decent
that'll
amount.
Keep you going for a while. Yeah, it is.
And I'm not going to use it at like. So obviously now I need the real idea for me is to get amethyst arrows.
True.
But that requires 92 mining, and we all know mining is quite possibly, in my opinion, is definitely the worst skill in the game, but a lot of people dislike it.
It's up there.
So I have to go, get to the Amethyst Mines. So that's 5 levels away and like 100 hours. But you know what? I always said if I ever got a Twisted Bow, I'd be perfectly happy to go and grind mining until I get 92, and I'm certainly enjoying it a lot more knowing what's at the end of it.
True. Yeah, that is definitely fair.
I've heard Amethyst is super chill as well, like very AFK.
Yeah, I've been doing it. I'm 93 right now because that's my next AFK grind. So when I'm like doing work or I'm doing something that requires some sort of focus, I used to be out there making blood runes, doing rune crafting, hit 99. So now I'm at mining, and yeah, it's pretty chill. It's fairly AFK. I thought it was gonna work kind of like Motherlode Mine, where you can mine multiple ores from the same rock. You kind of can, but not like you would with wood cutting or fishing or being at Motherlode Mine. What makes it so AFK is that it can take forever to mine the vein.
So you only get one amethyst per wall piece?
Yeah. Did you think it was multiple too?
Yeah. Can you not get multiple if you have the superior gloves?
Yeah, so with the superior gloves, are they superior? So there's like, they added to the mining guild. When you're mining there, you have a chance of getting unidentified minerals, and there's 2 gloves. There's the, let me pull it up here. Okay, yeah, so there's 2 gloves you can get. There's mining gloves, and then there's superior gloves. And mining gloves give you the mining gloves in general, whether it's superior or the regular. They give you a chance at getting of not depleting the vein. But the mining the first tier of mining gloves, which requires like 60 unidentified minerals to get, it only works for silver, coal, and gold. And then you can get another pair of gloves called superior mining gloves, and these work for mithril, adamant, and runite. But you can combine the 2. And then that allows you to you combine the 2 to make expert mining gloves, and it gives you a 25% chance that your amethyst vein doesn't deplete. So that could make it like fairly AFK, where 25% chance, that's pretty good. You could get multiple ores from it. I'm ignoring the fact that the Varrock armor gives you a chance of getting 2 ores per vein. So this does allow you to kind of AFK it as well. But it's 240 unidentified minerals. And that takes a long time to get.
Yep. So
yeah,
go power mine iron for 10 hours, I think. It's
that's what it is, eh? 10 hours?
Next while. Something like that. That's what Weez was telling me. And he said do it before you hit 92 because you do not want to go back. And I think I agree with him. So
yeah, so I've always done, I did Motherlode mining all the way up to 92, and then I went to Amethyst. So I've been working my way there, and so I have like 200 myself, so I'm getting pretty close, but it is really slow. I spend a whole day mining there, and I'll get like 5 to 10.
Yeah, so it feels really good. It's gonna be nice to have those arrows, and what a rush it was getting that Twisted Bow though. It's like the feeling is just impossible to describe. It's crazy. Something that I'll like. It sounds silly, but something I'll remember for the rest of my life for sure. Just the feeling, like the rush of excitement.
I'm like, is there any other games that kind of give you that sort of feeling? Like, that's the thing. I'm trying to think. Like, when I played League of Legends, there was some intense moments where my adrenaline was pumping, but I guess it's different because getting a drop like that is so instant. It's like literally like
the difference is like when we remember talking about the Inferno last week when I got the just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago I got the cape. Like that feeling of like triumph, like yes, I worked hard and I did it. That's what it feels like in League of Legends. Like I remember making Diamond 5 for the first time, and I was just like so happy. But it was the same feeling as completing the Inferno. Like I worked and I finally made it.
Yeah, you outplay like 5 people in a match, and you get like maybe
exactly.
a pentakill,
or you get
solo.
a pentakill, and you get a big smile on your face.
Yeah,
but the bomblet, as you know, was like shock. It was the same as the Ellie. Like I just didn't expect it to happen.
Yeah, the only thing I can compare that sort of feeling to, and the only time I've really gotten that is with like pets, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's a similar thing.
Yeah, Venenatus and Scorpia. I think with a main, it's a little bit different. When you get a Twisted Bow, it's exciting, but you're like, oh, I just made 100 mil, 200 mil, 500, whatever the split was.
Yeah.
But I know with a pet, when those drop, it's like a sudden feeling. And I always like felt like it compared to like when you're driving and you almost get into a car accident.
Yeah, it gives you like a huge kick of adrenaline. for sure.
Yeah, and it's so
Where it's like,
instant.
whoa! Yeah, just wakes up your whole body for sure. That's exactly what it feels like, but like maybe multiplied a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
But not by much. It's sort of the same idea, but very fun. Solo raids have been obviously before I got the bow. Now my log looks freaking fantastic. I can't complain about it.
Cool, nice.
I think before I had like 8 arcanes and 7 other various purples. So I was about on raid. I did the math right before I got, right after I got the bow, and I'm like 1 in 33 for purples, which is, and it's 1 in 30 if you're getting 30k points. So
okay.
And I imagine my first 50, to 100 raids were just like joke raids with, Ivan's Blast or whatever I would take whatever my friends would let me come with, just pure garbage gear.
True.
It was pretty bad. Yeah, I remember getting a Twisted Buckler and I was so excited. It was on like 100 KC or something, and I just had Rune Crossbow and other garbage gear. Yeah, good times. Yeah, it's been a big journey. So now it like unlocks challenge modes for me. I've mentioned that I've done them before with my bow. I have about 35 KC. And it's definitely doable, like as a solo, but it's really close. Like it's nerve-wrackingly close. If I make no mistakes, I might have 2 minutes to spare for the hour and 10 minutes it takes to do. But with the Twisted Bow, it's not going to be a problem making time anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's the weird thing with challenge mode raids. It's that there's like a time cap. You have to beat it within a certain time, and if you don't have any chance of getting a unique, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, you do have a chance of getting a purple, but you don't have a chance of getting the challenge mode uniques, which are the Twisted Ancestral Kits and the Metamorphic Dust, which changes the pet into any of the room means. Okay. So I was doing them before with my friends, and I certainly wasn't like a liability, but obviously I don't have as much DPS as I would if I had a Twisted Bow. So now I'm just like a useful member of the team again.
Cool.
It's pretty hard to feel like a little locked out of content behind such a huge item.
Yeah,
but then again, it's like very, very end game stuff, challenge modes. So it's not a huge deal. Yeah, so I'm really excited now. I can sort of, instead of doing regular solos, I'll probably just do challenge mode solos, because I may as well go for the dust, right? Because that's the best pet in the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
at least top 2 with the top hard mode one as well.
Yeah, because it allows your omelet, your own pet, to kind of transform into any of the Chambers of Xeric bosses.
Do you have a favorite one?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I like the Vespula, like the flying. I think I have a thing for like flying pets.
There's not too many of them.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I don't care about the fishing pet too much, but yeah, I think Vespula looks kind of cool, and I also like the Mutadile one as well.
Yeah, the Puppadile, the baby crocodile. That's I would say that's people's favorite. Sort of, if we did a poll, it's well loved. I'm also a big fan of like Vasa. They're all like quite good though. So
yeah,
I know Magpies was a huge fan of the Vanguards, just like the little.
That one's cool too. Yeah,
the little insect following you. They're all good. Tecton's cool as well. There's lots of good choices. So 1 in 400. It's not as bad as going for the pet. The pet is like really rare from regular raids. It's like 1 in 2,000 ish.
Boy.
Yeah, so super lucky to get that one out the way. I mean, I wasn't really going for it. Maybe that's why I'm getting so many pets, because I'm not actively hunting them.
Oh, that's how it goes, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so anyways, that was my week. Very exciting. And
cool.
Looking forward to, all the doors this will open for me.
Oh yeah, what a week. Oh boy.
You've been up to anything?
I got up to a little bit outside of RuneScape. God, was it like a couple months ago? I don't, or I'm losing track of time. But we had an episode back where we talked about Magic the Gathering. Ooh. And I think I mentioned that like I've tried so long to stay away from Magic. It's a trading card game. Just because when I was younger, I was super into Yu-Gi-Oh! And like Pokemon. Mostly Yu-Gi-Oh! Though. That's the one I actually knew how to play.
Loved Yu-Gi-Oh! Dude. Great show.
Yeah, it had a show to go with it too, which that probably definitely helped market it. But I was really into like collecting the cards and trading them, and then I guess I just grew up and I stopped playing it. And then when I was in high school, I had some friends that just loved to like just get high and play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I was like, I'm down. So you'd go and buy like a booster deck from Walmart and play Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was like a lot of fun. But anyways, and then I got out of it, whatever, I kind of moved on. And then you guys started playing in the Discord server, you know, some of the people hanging out in the clan and in the Discord server started playing Magic over Discord. Kind of got me excited. I kind of felt like I wanted to kind of see what was going on there. And just kind of like, I've always been kind of interested in it, but I stayed away because people always say it's like, they call it cardboard crack, where you'll spend so much money on it.
And have you?
Well, see, that's the thing. I was like, I got into it. I bought Commander deck, which is like $60. So already that's like, okay, for one big payment, okay, that's gonna be quite a bit. And then I started having fun. Then I started buying a few other cards. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, it does. That's how it starts, dude. You just like, oh, yeah, I get this $5 card for my deck. Like, oh,
Yeah,
that $10 card looks nice. And then all of a sudden, spending $10 on a single card is like nothing. And then all of a sudden, spending $20 on a single card is nothing.
Oh yeah, I could totally see it. And that's the thing. People are like, I was always worried about the packs, buying packs of cards. It's like the loot boxes, right? That's
It's
the
not
whole.
worth
It feels
it,
like you're
yeah.
gambling. People always say it's not worth it, and that's what I always thought is where your money got sucked into.
Nope.
But I
game in
learned
general.
that's the thing. So I've been playing a lot of Magic Arena, which is the phone app, and I've been like, I got like really into that. And then having fun playing Commander, even though it can be hard to set up a game because games can go for like an hour plus if you have 4 people. So that can be kind of tough. But what was coming up was the pre-release for a new set of cards. So I started learning all about what the hell that even meant. So like 4 times, I think it's 4 times a year, right? Is that?
Yeah, whenever a new standard set comes out, they have a pre-release. Well,
yeah, okay.
Basically any full format set.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So it seems like that happens a few times a year.
About 4, yeah, that's a good estimate.
About 4. And basically, when the new set comes out, there's like 300 new cards, or some of them are reprinted, but there's a whole set of 300 cards or so that come out that you can add to your pool of cards you play with. And if you're playing standard, I think once a year in the fall, the year prior, all those sets get kind of removed and they get put, like, they're not they're not allowed in the standard format, but there's like a billion different formats to play Magic. So
yeah,
still
there's
allowed
always
in a bunch
2
of other
concurrent
stuff.
years worth of cards. So they'll rotate it every year. They rotate the 2 years ago's cards out.
And since like COVID and I work from home now, I most like all my socializing is through with like you and people on RuneScape, right? Just playing with other people. And I work from home, so there's not a lot of things I'm leaving the house to do. The odd time I'll go hang out with some friends, but like, as we're all getting older and friends are having kids, I'm about to have a kid, like that's just slowly starting to fade away. But I was like, I've always wanted to go to a Magic event, and if I'm going to do it, I should probably do it before the baby's here. So I saw a pre-release was happening on the Friday, and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. Watch some videos. It seemed like a really good, it seemed like a great time. It seems like the event that, like, if you're going to go to any event for your first time, like the pre-release is the one to go to. So decided to sign up, and it was on Friday, and man, it was like so much fun. I had such a good time, and I was like, okay, this is another aspect that I never like predicted with Magic. This is where a lot of money will get sucked out of you, because these events are just so much fun that I'm 100% going to the next one. So
pre-releases are some of the purest form of Magic. It's so much
fun.
fun.
So much fun. And like, so what you do is you go there, you meet up at 6:00. That's what I did. We get there at 6, and then it costs $40 to enter. Then you get your kit, your pre-release kit, which comes with like, I don't know, 6 packs of cards. It has another promo set of cards. You get some dice, whatever. And then you get 2 extra draft booster packs, whatever. You get like 8 packs of cards to open. And then you end up having 90 cards that you build a deck of 40 cards out of, using only the cards that you were given. And then you play against other people for the next like 3 hours or so. And then if you win more, you can win more packs of cards and stuff. But I think that the part that makes it really fun for like someone who's new to it is that it's not super competitive. People, the playing field's fairly even, in that like RNG is all that kind of, there's a deck building aspect.
They end up balancing themselves out, because if you have 100 people and you're not the best deck builder, there's usually 5 rounds, right, Dilz? So the first 2 rounds, if you like lose against someone who's just a better player than you, then in the next rounds you're only playing against people that have also lost 2 games. So you end up your later rounds end up being very even.
Yeah, and everyone is playing with like brand new cards. Nobody's able to go buy $100 card and come in with it because you can only use the cards you're given. You're not even allowed to trade. And people were just like super nice. Like after I got my ass kicked, the dude sat down. He was like, "Let me help you beef up your deck better." And he was like really good at deck building. He ended up coming first place, but he sat down and helped me kind of like make my deck perform better.
Really cool. Yeah, there are a lot of nice people at pre-releases, and people from like all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of sort of skill levels of Magic. I went to a pre-release and met like an actual professional player, and he was just sitting down across from me, just like drinking a soda or something. And I just started chatting. I was like, "Oh, hey, John, how are you, man?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, doing well." Just so friendly. And I just started asking him questions about like, pro Magic and, the meta and stuff. And he was just like more than happy to have a good conversation. And then you'll have people who it's like you, it's their first time to the pre-release and you may get matched up against that pro player.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Obliterated.
And sure, you might get obliterated, but then they might help you out after. But you know that the pro player will then go on to play against the people who have also won. So the decks sort of play against themselves quite nicely. And that's my favorite part about pre-releases. You always get some good games in.
Yeah, and it was just like a lot of fun. And then that's where I'm like, okay, I've signed my soul away to the devil or whatever. Because like the next pre-release, I'm like, I'm 100% going to the next pre-release because that was like such a good time. And then the problem, can I resist buying more cards between now and then? It's
an expensive hobby. I also like as someone who's played for a long time and spent too much money on it. I also don't really regret it because I used to play, and I still do kind of play like once a week. So it's one of my big hobbies. And it's nice to have a non sort of screen hobby that you can fall back into with some other friends. Especially if you're not like playing sports or something in the winter, you get to go out once a week, socialize, play some cards for a few hours, just not think about anything. It's a nice medium to meet people through. So.
Yeah, totally. It's a really and it's a game that requires so much like strategizing. Like it's a lot of like mental bandwidth, which is like it's just nice to have that in a hobby. Like having to like it's like playing chess.
But it's similar like complexity. Yeah, it's a very complex game. You're right.
Yeah, it's like chess with a little bit of math.
Chess with a little bit more like RNG.
Yeah,
there's totally. No RNG in chess, which is what makes the game, in my opinion, a little bit more fun because it's not just always the better player that wins. Sometimes you can have a little bit of randomness thrown in, which means that there's availability for you to beat. If you're not like beat the pro player once in a while because you have a good draw or you make a good play and they just don't have the cards to deal with you in that round. So that's what makes it a really fun viewing experience as well.
Yeah, it's sweet. So anyone out there who maybe is, I've met some people on the Discord server who play RuneScape, listen to the show, who like used to play Magic, but maybe they fell out of it. But hearing us playing Magic, they're like, oh shit, I kind of want to get in on that. Or anyone who is kind of maybe like me. I mean, if you've been staying away from it because you don't want to spend the money, stay away from it. Definitely stay away from it because it can be very expensive. But if you're someone who's like wanted to check it out, swing by the Discord and it's fun. I can attest that it's a really good. It's really fun to get into in 2021.
Yep.
So yeah, there it is. Oh, discord.gg/thewilderness. We have our own unique URL now and make it nice and easy.
Whoa! Thanks for whoever Discord Nitro boosted us.
Yeah, Chick and Nels, Battle Stabs to
the
finally pull that together. Yeah.
Very nicely done. And Nels, come back to RuneScape, please.
He's taking that little break. But anyways, that's my what I've been up to outside of RuneScape. Inside RuneScape, I think I mentioned I was doing the 10 HP defense only Ultimate Iron Man. I was having fun doing that little puzzle of a game. And I knew I wasn't going to stick to it for too long, but I inevitably hit a little grind where it's just boring. So I slowed down a little bit on that. And now I'm kind of back on the main. I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. I think I have this issue. When I'm bored, I would go on Steam and I'd see what games were on sale that I want to play. So then I'd buy a bunch of games and then I wouldn't play them. I'd install them and then I just like wouldn't have time to play them. And then I'd never touch them and then my Steam library just grows. I kind of do the same thing with like RuneScape accounts where I'm like kind of bored. So I like bond up my Iron Man and then I do a few quests and then that's what I did. I ended up bonding up my Iron Man and then I bond up a pure. I would do some pure stuff and then get bored of that. And so now I have like 6 accounts.
You're a hopper. You're like the opposite of my play style where I just like pure grind one thing until it's done. You like to
I jump around all the time.
Do this and that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's so much to do in this game. It's so easy to hop around. So
you see, it's funny because I feel just the opposite feeling. I feel quite lost when I'm hopping around, even though I like think it's going to be like an ideal world. Like, I have my infernal cape and my twisted bow. I can do whatever I want. But realistically, I just want to grind one thing until it's finished. That's just like how I like to play the game.
That's how you achieve stuff. For me, it's like I have all these goals and I slowly get there.
You're like chipping away. You're like you're playing on controlled and I'm playing on slash.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're going
never efficient to go controlled, but
I think it is. It's nice. Just slower. That's the thing. It's good stuff, though, man. You'll find something, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, I bounce. I've been doing a little bit of the combat achievement tasks.
Should get into some challenge modes with us.
Yeah, I might need to.
They're quite fun. You have all the gear, and they're very fun. So,
right on. Well, I need to beef up by the time next comes here. So,
true. Yeah, you're gonna want a little bit of money for that.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta get ready. Gotta get those uniques day one. That's the dream.
Could you imagine?
Oh man. Oh boy. That's the hope. But anyways, I guess speaking of next, should we hop on into this week's updates?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. Premier Club is happening between November 15th and March 1st. Wow, that's a long time to have Premier Club running. You can get a year of membership for $70 US compared to what is it normally, like 120? It's like half price if you want to buy it in bulk. For someone like me, I would definitely do that on my main. Not so much do that on my Ultimate Iron Man because then that's just like a lot of money that I won't be playing a year's worth. But my main definitely. And I can't, even with a baby coming in January, I'm still going to want to be able to log into membership whenever I want. Yeah, so being able to buy it in kind of like a year bulk is definitely worth it for me. So if you're someone else who has a similar play style, might be worth looking at Premier Club. Another thing too, if you're someone who plays on RuneScape 3 as well. So like for me, I'm actually looking at buying this for my Iron Man because my Iron Man is also an Iron Man on RuneScape 3. Which I do like bouncing between the two on my Iron Man. It doesn't happen often, but it's just nice to have that as an option. Premier Club also gives you like a bunch of other stuff on RuneScape 3. So there's that. But for most people, they're not going to care about that. So anyways, that's Premier Club. There's the little shilling segment for Jagex. We got to get like a code, like old school RuneScape /wild
/ Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, get a little kickback. Okay, next is the Gielinor Gazette. So this is they kind of talk about a lot of the stuff that we talked about last week, to be honest, with a few extra things to discuss and kind of, these aren't like updates. These aren't even like, they might not even be coming in the near future. They just kind of mention it to kind of, this is what's top of mind at Jagex HQ. So the first thing they mention is Group Iron Man. So the group storage space right now, it's very low, but they want to increase it to a much larger number to make you to allow you to share more stuff, not be so limited on like whatever it is, like 60 or something, maybe even less.
Yeah, it's pretty small for 4 people, especially when you start getting a lot of good gear that you want to share.
Yeah. It'd be nice to just be able to load a bunch of things like resources and bones and food and potions and just throw everything in there that people can snag from. They eventually want to bring an increased capacity for this storage. Another thing that they want to do and that they are working on is having a new private chat for your group Iron Man. So if there's the 5 of you, this way you can join a friend's chat, you can join a clan, you can guest in a clan, and on top of all that, you'll have your own private chat for just you and the 5 group Iron Men that you're together with. And this would also include broadcasts like level milestones and drops and all the fun stuff that you see in clans.
Cool.
So that's something that they're going to be working on as well.
Hopefully it doesn't take a year to come out.
It might. And then there's the shared group hull, along with, or possibly, maybe this will be both, or there might be separate, but having a shared player-owned house is something that group Iron players have asked for. This way you guys can all work on the one house, and you have your portals and your rejuvenation pools and all those fun stuff. You don't have to worry about like maybe one person having it and then he has to be online.
Yeah, that seems great. They should have done that from the beginning.
They're working on the idea of having a shared player-owned house, and if not that, maybe having a group hall similar to the clan hall that you can upgrade, whether it's through cosmetic or maybe more. But this is just an idea that they're kind of working on. I hope this also means they're working on the same thing for clans. You know, they talked about having a clan hall being customizable, and the clan hall is cool, but it's, you know, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more they could do with it. So much potential there.
I agree. They need to like add a lot to it to make it fun.
Yeah. So hopefully we see that coming along with it as well. But if you're a group Iron player, you'll have some fun stuff coming down the pipeline between now and eternity. So between now and when the game shuts down, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Next is Steam client features. We mentioned last time you can sign up to a beta. I'm not sure how long the beta is going to be running for, but either way, there'll be a link in the description of this episode if you want to check out the beta, or if you want to sign up to the beta. You just basically fill out what your name is, what your Discord name is, what device you'll be using, and they'll let you jump in there. The beta is running between November 24th and December 8th. You'll be able to check out a bunch of RuneLite features on mobile, so that should be pretty neat. So next is Raids 3, the Tomb of a Masket. No further information on the weapons. They said that they enjoy everyone's feedback and they're still kind of working on things, but what they do have to share is Beneath Cursed Sands, which is a quest in the Caridian Desert storyline, which will be releasing alongside the quest, alongside the raid. You'll actually have to finish this quest to get access to the raid. This quest will be released much earlier. Not much earlier, but it'll be released earlier than the raid itself to allow you to get instant access once the raid is released. They show some concept art. Looks really cool. They show like a little encampment built into the side of like a what looks to be like a gorge in the desert. Looks pretty cool here. Then they show like almost like the entrance, the concept art of the entrance to the raid, I believe, and it looks very cool. Some sort of like, of course, tomb entrance. It looks pretty neat.
Yeah, looking forward to this desert quest. I think it should be fun. Yeah,
it should be cool. I'm glad that they are tying the raid behind the quest. I think the other one should be as well, just to make the lore leading into it a little bit more engaging. Chambers of Xeric is cool, but it's just kind of placed there. You don't really get much of a story build up.
Yeah. There should have been a quest for sure, but I think they're slowly learning what makes a good raid.
Yeah, and it's a good excuse to bring out a cool raid or a cool quest.
Totally.
Wilderness changes. So the first batch of Revenant changes have gone live. I was actually trying it over the weekend. Get some pretty good loot there. Not a whole lot of PKers show up. It's pretty chill.
Yeah, it's probably best loot in the game right now if you're willing to skull up with a crossbow or a mace.
True. Yeah, I was doing it not skulled up, but yeah, you could still get a decent amount of money. I only saw PKers once, and I was like hard AFKing when they got me. So
yeah, the thing is, you tend to run into quite scary PKers, especially in like near the orcs. Because it's singles plus, like you can't just dump specs on people like singles clans. So right. People will like bring like Bofa and ancestral. Like you can get some real scary people. But also there's a lot of avenues to escape, right? Like they have to be on normals, they have to TB you.
Yeah. There's a bunch of agility shortcuts if you have high agility.
Huge agility shortcuts, like 89 is one of them, right? So yeah, there's options to escape, and you can just teleport if you're paying attention. So
yeah. And the nice thing too is this is what I want to try. I want to try PKing there at some point, because there was a lot of people there that I found, and a lot of people weren't super. They didn't seem like they were like paying too much attention. Like, you get kind of cocky when you don't see PKers for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, some cool stuff. But they said that they regret that they weren't able to feature the loot keys or the wilderness bosses or the Rev boss itself. They apologize. 2022 is when you can expect that. So the loot keys is supposed to be a thing that's kind of like from Deadman mode, but when you kill someone, you don't have to worry about looting their entire inventory of like items and stuff. You just get a key, and then you get all of their loot that they had on them there. The old school economy. So yeah, we mentioned last week, but they're going to be increasing. They'll be adding a tax of 2%. They'll be removed from the final sale value. This applies to sellers, not buyers. So you don't have to worry about that. It's just the merchers. And then they'll be taking some of that money to use as an item sink, where they'll be buying this list of items. So spectral and arcane shields, nightmare staffs and orbs, Twisted Bow, Elder, Maul, Kodai's Insignia, Din's Bulwark, Prayer Reward Scrolls, God Swords, Armadale Armor, Bando's Armor, Saradomin Sword, Zamorakian Spear, Abyssal Bludgeon, Kraken Tentacle, Trident, Dark Bow, Smoke Battle Staff, Occult Necklace, and Toxic Blowpipe. But yeah, I noticed that they left out like the Elysian Spirit Shield.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, right? It's too rare and it's not farmed enough. So with a tax, I think it would become too expensive.
I think like something like that. It's been in the game for when did the Corp come out? Like 2013 or something? I can look it up.
It's been pretty stable. Like even through the economy crash, it was sitting at like 900 mil. Now it's back up to over $1 billion. So because
it's like the one item I've seen go up like in price that much. Like everything else has been crashing. I remember when I played, because I started playing in 2013, and then I would quit and come back and quit and come back. But it was 500 mil at one point, and I was like, wow, that's expensive. And now it's at $1 billion, and it's like only gone up.
I don't know. It's hard to say, because like we've talked about before, it's not the most useful item. But my guess is the supply just has to be really low. Like there just can't be that many of them in the game.
Yeah, and it is really good.
It is, of course, it's really good. Like wherever it is powerful, it's very strong. Like you love to have one at CMs. You know, it's definitely a desirable item once you get into the realm of like where you can save for a $1 billion item, which is not a lot of people. But then again, I just don't think there are that many Ellies in the game. So they remain high.
Yeah, there's the economy. Again, we mentioned this all last week. Leagues 3, the Shattered Relics, the development process. So they everything got pushed back. They said it was all ready to go in November, but they pushed it back because people were still enjoying Group Iron Man mode. The annoyance that a lot of people had was that they gave people like 2 weeks notice that they would be pushing it back till 2022. Which I do think it released too close to Group Iron Man mode, but I don't know why they planned that to begin with. They should have always, I guess they lacked the foresight or something. So now they're pushing it back to January, but I worry that they're going to have to push it back again, because January is a packed month with Next coming out with the Deadman Reborn finale, which I know that's whatever, but it's still a lot happening in 1 month. So we'll see how that goes. But
yeah, just like this niggling sensation that something will get pushed back in January.
Yeah, that's what I think too. It's just they're going to realize it's too much. A new boss. People might not want to stop fighting Next to go do leagues. Like the whole idea of leagues is you bring it in between big updates so that when people are kind of bored, this gives them a new way to play the game. But having it
then
so
you
close,
pull out Next, and then people come back for Next to the main game. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. The timing, they should have.
People are gonna I'm gonna choose to grind it.
Should have released whatever it's called, leagues now, or like 2 weeks ago, like they're supposed to. But they wanted to milk the Group Iron Man.
Yeah, which again, I understand that from a marketing standpoint, but now I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing when Next comes around. They're going to push back leagues again, and oh boy, people aren't going to be happy.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
But yeah, that's all old news. They said with more time, they are kind of like brainstorming some new ideas to introduce as well. So the thing with this Leagues, if you don't know what Leagues is, it's basically like a new game mode that lasts like a month, 2 months, a month and a half, not long at all. But it's a whole different way to play. It's like playing old school RuneScape on a private server. Experience rates are generally super high. You unlock points that you can then spend to unlock different perks in the game. This can allow you to like totally break the game. Maybe you hit super hard with melee weapons. Maybe you have unlimited run energy. Maybe you have an item that you can teleport to the last place you teleported from. So this allows you to like go back and forth between two areas real quickly. It just crazy. It just makes the game like a very different game, and it allows you to kind of like take a break from your regular grind if you're getting bored, and play this new fun game mode. We had Twisted Leagues, which locked you to just Zaya, the continent of Zaya, which was really cool. Then they had Trailblazers, which everyone started in like, is it Asgarnia, the Lumbridge area, with a few other places unlocked. As you got points, you got to purchase new areas. So you could purchase like the Fremenic area. You could purchase, but you could only choose like 3 other places. So it made you really think of what content did you want to get access to, what weapons and armor did you want to get access to. So again, it really made it kind of like a puzzle game. As well as like the RPG game that it is. So that brings us to Leagues 3, Shattered Relics. Instead of buying areas, they say you're going to be buying bosses, and you're going to be when I say buy, I mean like unlocking bosses, unlocking new skills to grind. And it's supposed to have a very strong narrative focus to this seasonal game mode. I don't quite know what that means, but that's interesting. That should be kind of cool. And so in the past, they mentioned you'll be getting relics, which before you had to purchase them with points. This time around, you'll get them from doing different tasks. So you might get a relic from doing clue scrolls, and you have a higher chance of getting a relic that will allow you to, like, I don't know, maybe every time you complete a clue scroll, you get 3 caskets to open. Just making that up. So that's the kind of idea of what a relic would be that you could unlock from the tasks. And you could maybe get one from doing Slayer, get one from doing wood cutting, and these relics would have a focus on whatever task you were doing. Now they're playing with the idea of, instead of just having a relic that you could attune to get the perks from, making it more of a trading card system, which is kind of also, when I read this, I was like, oh, I definitely have to mention the magic stuff from earlier to tie it together. But the idea is getting the theme being you get these trading cards, and you can put together a handful of trading cards to give your character 5 different perks, and you could switch out cards down the road, kind of making you strategize. How do you want to basically beef up your character? What kind of perks do you want to do? What kind of content do you plan on doing in the next little bit? Is a bunch of clue scrolls? Well, maybe you want to get a bunch of trading cards that will give you the perks that will make you complete clue scrolls faster, or maybe get more rewards, or maybe you have unlimited run energy, whatever it is. So that's kind of the lowdown of the Shattered Relics Leagues 3 that's going to be coming out. They just kind of go over that there, and they mention their trading card idea. It should be interesting, though. So far with the past 2 leagues, and with this one too, it seems like they completely overhaul what Leagues is, and that makes me really excited. And the rewards look cool.
Yeah, pretty interesting design. I'm looking forward
now,
to
with
it.
this being so close to next, do you think you'll be doing Leagues that much?
No.
Yeah, okay. Would you have done Leagues if it wasn't so close to next? Or if it came before next?
I said yes in September, but I also just love my account so much. And there's always so much to do on it.
Now they got the Twisted Bow and stuff?
I mean, like, even before, like, last time when Trailblazer League came out, my account was early in its stages. Like, I remember I was grinding my Black Mask while everyone was playing Trailblazer League.
Oh, interesting.
Then what was the next league that came out? The Relics League?
Twisted League was the first one, and then Trailblazer came second.
Okay, so Twisted League, I was grinding my Black Mask. On the one after that, I was doing God Wars Dungeon, like just getting into Sarah. I just finished Hydra as well. So, or like I was doing Hydra, and then I was started Sarah. So those were like big grinds that I was looking forward to. And I mean, Hydra wasn't such a big grind. I did one task, but you know what I mean. I had a lot of like goals to accomplish, and even now, like I feel that way with my account. There's lots to do, so it's hard to say. I think it's gonna be a game time decision. I'd like to explore it at least for a little bit. Like last time, I didn't even log into it the last 2 times, but this time my account's like pretty progressed, and the goals are also slow now. It might be nice to like get a couple of the rewards from the league and play it with my friends for a few days. But if I ultimately probably won't, I will not play it for the whole 6 weeks. I just know that for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. It's if you're already in the, I think this goes for like other people playing it as well. While leagues is gonna be a lot of fun. I think the main pull is for the players who are maybe kind of like me, where like I'm a little bored of my account, or at least I'm not super, like at least right now in like this week, there's nothing that I'm like super excited to be grinding out.
Yeah.
So exactly. Leagues 3 allows me to play that for 2 months, and I'm playing on my account still.
But the problem is you can't like AFK your main while you play on the league. Like you have to log into to the server through the league, which is a little bit annoying. Or else that would motivate me much more to play, because then I'd have no problem, because I could just like, you know, AFK Amethyst or Redwoods or something, and then I'd be super stoked, because obviously I'd want the rewards on my main account, which is my Iron Man.
Yeah, so. Exactly. As an Iron, especially because you get points at the end that you can then use, and you can make some money. So it's not like you're playing it all for naught. You do get a little bit afterwards.
I wouldn't be there for the money, right? I would just be there for the cool cosmetics, like the tentacle whip or the house, like the old twisted. Was it? I get them always confused. Twisted League, the house recolor. I really like that black design.
Yeah.
So like I would want to get that, as well as maybe a couple other things. So I don't know. I'd definitely give it a go. But man, like Next comes out right before, and I am going to be hitting Next very hard.
Especially if it's a fun boss.
Definitely the boys are all going to be out doing that. Everyone's going to be doing Next. I think it's going to be quite accessible. It's hard to say what the fight's going to be like. Obviously, we don't know, but certainly the rewards are all massive. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Totally. And like, and then the thing of, for someone like me, what makes leagues so great, but it's like the opposite for you, where I can play leagues on my main account and I can still progress it. And the fact that, like, you know, you get your points, you get some cool things to show off. But if you get any pets on leagues, they kind of tie to your account. So in leagues 1 and 2, any pets you got, you'll be able to have them in leagues 3. And it's really cool to see people with like a pet that you can't get in leagues 3 and that's following them around. So something like that is like what I really enjoy as well. But that also means I don't really want to play leagues on my pure or on an alt account, because I want to do it on my main. And then for someone like you, that means if you're already having fun on your main, why would you stop playing it, right?
You see, just the whole thing about temporary game modes just kind of irks me in general. I never liked them in League of Legends, like Earth. I just was never a fan of it because I didn't feel like I was progressing my other game skills. I never liked in Magic. I never liked Standard, or Modern was okay. I never actually played it, but Standard I didn't like because your deck would just be gone in a year and a half, which is why I fell in love with Commander, because it's like it's always there for you to come back to, and that's why I like my Iron Man or, you know, main account so much, because it's always there for me to come back to. Whereas, you know, I only have a certain amount of time to finish the leagues. Yeah, and it just doesn't feel that fun for me. That's just my personal philosophy. I know lots of people have a freaking blast playing leagues, and that's really good for them.
Yeah, like the counterpoint with, like, if we want to use the Magic metaphor, like someone I'm newer to it, I find Standard to be kind of cool and exciting that these cards kind of swap out, and allows me to be like, okay, it's a smaller pool of cards. I only have to I just have to learn the new cards being introduced.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But leagues also, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not generally a negative person, but it can also give like a false sense of progression. Like, sure, you get to make this sick account, but it can kind of spoil the main game for you if you're not ready to come back to those slow experience rates.
Oh yeah, that's the big thing too, right? You come off this, everything's faster on leagues. You come back to your regular account, and it's like, whew, oh man, this mining grind is slow.
Especially people that were like, oh, you know, like, this is a great introduction to Iron Man. And I agree, it's very cool. It gets you this feeling of, oh, this is what it's like when you get the big drops. But everything on an Iron Man is so much slower than a main. And a main is already slow compared to Trailblazer leagues. You just have to be ready for it. That's all I'm saying. Definitely some downsides. But I think the the positives greatly outweigh the negatives, and a lot of people love Trailblazer League.
It's great if you're getting a little bit bored. Like every time I've played leagues, I get about halfway through, 3/4 through the league season. And then I'm like, I just want to play my main account. And then it re-excites me to play on my main account. And then I play on it. And the grinds are a lot slower. But you know what? Eventually I'll probably be playing an iron, but I am tied to my main account right now. And I just don't feel that. But I know eventually I'm going to want to play my iron because... yeah, I was just like, I don't really, it'll happen, right? Inevitably, I'll want to enjoy the iron experience.
And then
but
I have something for you then. And this is an advice I've told many people before. Not advice, but just like something to think about. So if you see yourself like in the future of this game, like you don't want to quit, you really like it, fair enough. If you see yourself at some point being like, what's my ultimate goal? Oh, my ultimate goal is to like play on an Iron Man and like work on that and like get to the late game and stuff. But then people are like, oh, but my main account's so progressed. Like it would take so long to get an Iron Man up. I'm just not going to do it. But if you tell yourself that again in 6 months, if you'd made an Iron Man 6 months ago, you would have 6 months progression into it already. And you're going to have a lot of fun as well the whole time. So the best day to make an Iron Man is right now if you want to do one. That's all I will say.
The best time to make an Iron Man was yesterday. The second best time is today.
It sounds cheesy and whatever, but it's definitely true. And that's something that I did years ago when I made mine. I was like, well, I mean, one day I may as well just do this I'd want to do this on an Iron Man. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it right now. I just did it and started going hard. And I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think playing the Ultimate Iron Man, it kind of showed me that I do enjoy some of the early game. When there is a purpose to a lot of your early game stuff, it's enjoyable. And with an Iron Man, I think that's what a lot of it is. You're not just training farming, you're collecting the herbs that you're going to be using to make prayer potions that you'll be using down the road. Or you'll be, you're fishing lobsters, not just to train your fishing and to sell them, but that's food for Slayer.
Totally, dude. It just feels like everything has a little bit more purpose and it's a slightly more complete game mode than playing on a main.
Yeah, totally. And for right now, though, I hopped on my iron this week and I did a few quests, but I was like, I don't really feel like I want to play my main. And eventually, I'll hit a point where I think playing my main, I'm going to want to do something else. But for now, I just don't feel that way. But I think the Ultimate Iron Man really showed me that I do enjoy the early game when there's a purpose to a lot of the stuff you're doing. And with a main, a lot of it is like, you're training things up just to get to the next thing or whatever, maybe make some money. Yeah. So anywho, somehow we got into that from leagues. So leagues,
dude, I just take any opportunity to convert people to Iron Man life. That's what it
You're
is. That's
monster.
What it comes down to. I am a monster.
No, it's gonna be cool. And I'll just say one last thing. Another thing that I think is great for an Iron player for the future of the Iron game mode is that so many of the new bosses, it seems like, and I expect next to be the same way. Heartless, you get to do next with other people. You know what I mean? You're not forced to solo it like you are with God Wars bosses. And with like Night, where like everyone gets their own individual loot. And I think that is a big positive for like the Iron, you're not completely isolated from your friends.
I hard disagree. I think Iron Man should be able to do everything by themselves. I love doing things with my friends, but I like the option to be able to do things by myself. And I think if you talk to most endgame Iron Men, they would agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I agree. Having the option of both is super important.
Whereas next is not going to have that option. And that's one of the things that's a little off-putting about it to me.
They did say you will be able to solo it. It just won't be optimal. It won't be like the efficient way of doing it.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to complain until I see it, for sure.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, I agree with you. Having the option to go solo is nice because, I used to play a game called, I don't really play it that much anymore, but Escape from Tarkov, which is like a first-person shooter game, but you want to load up with friends. And sometimes I have an hour and a half to play and you spend 40 minutes trying to get the group together. And then I feel like a dick being like, okay, guys, I'm just going to go by myself because you guys are taking too long.
I think the more and more this game progresses, we're not going to have because most of the people that play this are in their mid to late 20s at this point, early 30s.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get a huge crowd of new players because this game is built on us playing from when we were young. So the player base isn't going to get any younger. We're going to average get older, which means we're eventually going to have been playing for a lot longer. So my guess is more and more people will have Iron Man. And you could already see it's like, what, 20% of the game right now is Iron Man.
There's a lot, yeah.
And I think it's only going to increase as the future goes. But Jagex have done a good job of getting rid of some of the bullshit parts of it and making it a little bit more accessible. It's a lot easier than it used to be. But it's not easy. It's not an easy mode, but it is a lot more streamlined.
Taking some of the tedious stuff out.
Like for example, not being able to do farming until you get to Zulrah used to be the meta because that's where you got all your seeds from. But now they introduced the farming guild, one of the best pieces of content I've ever seen them release.
True, yeah.
And it's just fantastic for Iron Man. It's a little bit broken, but it's also like you still have to work, and it lets you access farming earlier than normal. The sand grinder used to have to manually pick up buckets. Now you can go about the same speed a little bit quicker, and you also get mining experience.
Yeah, true.
It's just little things that they've done, and like some Iron Men don't like it because they think, back in my day, I had to fill up buckets or I had to do whatever behind Zulrah.
Well, the Jagex had the stance of like they would never do an update that caters to Iron Man, and they've completely changed since then. But that just shows you how popular it is.
Yeah, when it was 2% of your player base, obviously they're not going to, but now they've been doing that. Another thing is like they've changed a lot of the griefing mechanics around Iron Man too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's generally a better time to play an Iron Man than it used to be in the past. Sorry, I'm still trying to convince.
It's the twisted bow that you're all hyped up from the twisted bow drop.
It's just hit differently. I don't know, man. Very excited about it. You too could get a twisted bowmlet on your Iron Man if you only make one today.
There's the RuneScape inspo for the day.
Yep. Anyways, what were we even talking about next?
Oh, we're talking about next now. So that was probably came off Leagues 3. But anyway,
right.
There's the Gielinor Gazette for November. But yeah, let's talk some next. They made a few updates since we last spoke about it last episode. And first things first, they said the graphical changes of Torva, they're gonna beef out the legs so it doesn't look like you're wearing like a little jeans? Mini skirt kind of thing. Like tights. Doesn't look like they're gonna like overhaul the design though. They don't say anything about that, which I'm surprised because you thicken up the legs, fine, but the armor itself looks just kind of.
Would be cool to have a couple options. Hey, I like when they do that, when they give us like some choices on what it should look like.
Yeah, when they did that with the Just this year, they let you vote on 3 options, and the 3 options you're like, man, they're all so good except for this one, but the other ones are so good.
Yeah, I wish they did a little bit more like that. I think that's generally the people don't like the look of Torva.
Yeah, it looks dumb. The helmet too. I don't know.
I mean, it's okay. It's certainly not that they could do better. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's it. They could do better. It's 2021 for God's sakes. It's gonna be 2022. Let's see it. I bet you they'll change it. But for now, they're just gonna beef out the legs. Next is storage when it comes to Torva armor, because some people have been asking, will this be able to be stored in the player-owned house? There's a costume room, which you can build different items to store a bunch of different equipment and clothing and items, whatever it is. For most people, it doesn't matter too much. For Ultimate Iron Man, it is super important because you can store a lot of gear in there, including like mystics and ancestral, a lot of skilling gear and other cosmetics. They said, though, they don't plan on allowing you to store Torva because, Bandos and other melee armors aren't quite storable. It's only magic armor that seems to be allowed to be stored because they have a magic wardrobe set or whatever, magic robe wardrobe. So currently there is no plans for it. People were concerned that the Torva helmet had a better strength bonus than the chest plate. But they said this is intentional, as it keeps it in line with Slayer helmets, Serpentine visages, and Nata's not face guards. Which has me ask, I want to ask you this. Do you think Slayer helmets should always be best in slot for Slayer task? Would you ever be concerned if the Torva or Torva 2.0 in the future comes out, which makes those better than Slayer helmets?
No, I don't think it's possible. Slayer helmet gives, 15% damage and accuracy.
So it's crazy. The power would have to be so much higher in order for it to be.
You would have to give it like a 50 strength bonus for it to be comparable.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not
All
actually sure on the number, but it would need to be absolutely monstrous. Like we were talking, this is a little bit of power creep, Torva. We talked about it. It's like, max hit, maybe 2 at some places, and some defensive capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
The realm you're talking about is like super power creep, like, sync-tuffling the best armor across the board. It's not, it's just not going to happen. So that's part of the reason Slayer is like fun, right? Because the helm is so broken. And one of the reasons why it's not a big deal that this thing has 8 strength bonus. You're never going to use it on a Slayer task. You're just going to use it bossing. And it's only +2 on the face guard. So not a big deal.
Yeah, there's no set bonus as you would with like just this year.
Logically, how a giant helmet that you can barely see through gives you a huge strength bonus. I'm not fully sure, but we take it.
Makes you confident.
It makes you confident. That's right. Adds to your strength.
Strength boost is really just a confidence boost.
It's just honestly the whole thing is just pure confidence.
Yeah, sweet. It's like in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the sex appeal stat you can get.
It's so funny. Like the face guard, when you add the little jaw, you're like, oh yeah, I can't get hit on the jaw now. 2 strength bonus.
Yeah, this thing is cool. It's like when you go out in public. So when I'm wearing glasses, sometimes I feel more confident. Like you feel less vulnerable for whatever reason.
Do you feel the same way about masks?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Imagine for some people they're quite comforting because then you only have to show half your face. But obviously, that's a touchy subject. Some people hate them.
I never leave the house. So I don't really have to deal with too much. Let's see. Oh, Torva armor. People were worried that with Inquisitors and Justiciar that it's kind of like making them a bit more obsolete. Well, they say with Justiciar in particular, they had the set bonus that makes you just way more defensive. So that's not, it has its purpose.
People complaining about Justiciar being obsolete. It already is obsolete.
Until you need a tank. When you need your dedicated tank.
You're right. That's the only reason it's going to be good. Is like if we talk about they actually do a dedicated tank roll, but it's actually useless right now. Where would you use it? Name 3 places where you use Justy.
I saw a video once of a guy tanking bandos for like 20 minutes with the bulwark.
So if you're wealthy and you're tanking bandos for your friends.
Yeah, I mean I was thinking more of particular if you just want to do like a video of like the world's longest bandos tank. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to be adding a tank roll at some point.
They basically
don't really have that, but
to make it relevant, I think Rune Dragons is the only place you use Justy right now.
True.
So
I think we'll see it for Raids 3. We're going to see a tank, dedicated tank. They wanted to do it for Theater of Blood. I remember they mentioned it, and then they didn't. They didn't tell anybody why.
It would have made sense because they offered Justy in that raid.
Yeah. No, they had one of the rooms was going to be like you had to pick up some sort of relic and every monster would attack you and everyone had to protect you while you walked to the end of whatever. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. We've talked about this before. Like we would love to see that kind of teamwork and sort of protecting a person or like a tank roll.
Yeah.
You know what? It'll probably happen. People call for it. We tend to get what we want in this game. It just takes some time.
Yeah. And then Inquisitors, they said, you know what? There is a bit of an overlap with Inquisitors, but kind of it sucks to suck. We're not gonna buff Inquisitors. Damn it. We'll let it do its own thing. So that's basically it.
It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it that much.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Ancient God Sword. Basically they kind of, the special was if you hit it. The way it was worded was like if the person stays on that tile for 10 seconds or whatever, they're going to get hit with a bunch of damage. It's actually like when you hit it, if they have to stay within 5 tiles of the player that hit them. So if that person runs away, you just have to follow them.
This is a little bit scary. I actually asked the PKing clan their thoughts on it.
Oh yeah?
And they think it should be redesigned because now you can just freeze someone in multi, dump 4 specs into them, and they automatically die if you hit your specs on the same tick because you'll deal 100 damage.
Damn. Okay.
Right. I mean, you're already dead in multi. 4 people are on you, but now this just looks like a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They were like, I don't really understand the design direction of it. They think they should just make a slightly more powerful AGS. But of course, it's hard. It's really hard to guess how good these specials are going to be. for the most part.
Yeah, it seems like they try it a lot. You know, they do these like little math calculations and blah 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 blah, and you see them get reworked 20 different times before they're even released, which is like, you know, maybe a better approach would be release them and then do a bunch of revisions to get it to where you want it. They seem to be the other way around, where they'll revise it 30 times before it's released. Whereas most games,
I just don't want it to be like a completely dead piece of equipment, you know?
Yeah, you got to find its balance. That's going to be tricky. It's always tricky.
My guess is the crossbow is going to be pretty bad everywhere except for Nex. It's going to be very good at Nex, obviously. It's going to be best in slot. And the spec will be useful at certain bosses, but I don't think you're going to be main-handing it anywhere besides Nex. Torv is obviously busted. So are the Van Braces. But I think
you might use it at Armadillo too, maybe. Other places you could see the crossbow.
Yeah, but it's just better to use a Twisted Bow or a Bofa at Arma. Oh, speaking of, just sitting in the corner with your Bofa, if you're farming Armadillo, you can get like 15 to 20 KC trips just sitting there doing nothing. Just like hard AFKing.
Damn.
And then you just Bofa down the mage minion after, and then you just barrage off the last two, and then go back to the corner. It's interesting. Like, it doesn't sound like it should work, but it's amazing. Such a good method. It makes Armadillo the like most AFK of all 4 of the God Wars Dungeon bosses.
I'll have to check it out.
You definitely should. I mean, it would work well with a Twisted Bow as well. They're pretty similar DPS.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. These next rewards are whatever. Is there anything else from the blog?
No, that's it. Those are just some of the changes, the things that they wanted to update the community on. I think it's fine. You know, a lot of these things, let them release, see how they perform in game when a bunch of people are using them, and then tweak them. You know, you bust out the calculators and you're typing on your graphs and you're going crazy, and the max hit's gonna be 2+ over whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that's like the best way of doing it. A lot of other games, they release it and they fix it with patches that come out a couple days later or a week later, and they do it over and over again until it hits that sweet spot. So,
either way, I'm happy. There's going to be some new desirable rewards in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
I do think they're going to have to look at the Raids 3 rewards and beef them up a little bit, because these next rewards are like, you know, Raids worthy.
Oh yeah, they've added
They're definitely sort of as good as the kind of stuff you'd come across at Theater of Blood.
And there's just a lot of range items coming in 2022, right? We're gonna get the crossbow, we're gonna get the Van Braces, we're gonna get a full set with an amulet from Raids 3.
I'm not gonna lie, I think they're gonna rework the rewards for Raids 3 now.
Yeah, maybe add a few more.
I think they kind of have to. Some of them are quite underwhelming, especially when you look at sort of the quality across the board that you get at Nex. Like pretty much all the rewards are going to be useful.
I wonder if we're going to get more mage stuff. I bet I could see us getting more mage stuff, because there's a lack of magic rewards coming from Nex, and we had a few coming already from Tomb of a Masket. So they might just go in that direction. We'll see. We will have to see. We got lots of time between then. But that's it for the updates. That's everything there. Not a lot going on, just a lot to talk about, I guess. So that's about it. Should we mention anything else to mention before we take our little break and wrap this show up?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be right back then, and then we will wrap the show up. Alrighty, we're taking a quick little break and heading on over to the Grand Exchange, where we talk about some of the ways you can support the show. But before we get into that part of this segment, I always like to talk about something under the umbrella of, I don't know, finances, economy, I don't know, some random topic that somehow relates to the Grand Exchange. But I've been seeing some posts on the subreddit recently, which had me thinking maybe we'll just reminisce a little bit. I've been seeing some posts of people sharing pictures and almost like asking to go back to the days without the Grand Exchange. And a lot of us remember those days. You know, it's before the Grand Exchange, we had to actually meet up with people and trade and basically get scammed 50% of the time. It was a rough period. But I saw a few posts of just sharing some pictures, and then I think that caused little people to kind of get nostalgia for that period. I saw one user actually posting about opening up a new server where there's no grand exchange. And so when old school RuneScape, OSRS first came out in 2013, they had no grand exchange. You had to go and trade with people. And I'm telling you right now, it fucking sucked. None of us were too old for that shit. We don't have time to spend all Sunday afternoon trying to buy a set of barrows off someone only to get fucking scammed because some dude switched out the Guthan's War Spear with a leaf-bladed spear. Oh man, those were... We said, I want to say those were the days. Those were not the best of days though, but it was fun, and I do have nostalgia of going to Falador Park, and it was kind of cool. World 2, it was first off, you had to spend like 20 minutes trying to get into World 2. Eventually, there was a kind of like a Rune-like client. It was called Swift Switch or Swift Kit. They kind of had to rebrand a bunch because it kept getting shut down, but they had a World Hopper. But back then, the World Hopper was seen as like super overpowered, right? Like Jagex banned it because you would be able to hop into a world that was full. You couldn't get into the actual world itself. You could only get into the login screen. But what this allowed you to do was, the big pain was, if you want to get to World 2 and it was always full, you basically had to go to the RuneScape homepage and refresh and keep refreshing and hoping that you refresh it at a period where there's not 2,000 people. Because if there's 2,000 people, you couldn't even click into the world to load it up. You had to wait till there was 1,999, and then you could click it and it would load up. And then when you're in there, it was a lot easier. You just typed in your username, you typed in your password, and then you just spam clicked login, and eventually you got in. But the Swift Kit client or Swift Switch, whichever one it was, like I said, they rebranded a few times. You could load into the world regardless if it was full or not, and then it made it so much easier. You just had to sit there and spam click login. It got shut down because of that. But that was the first pain of trying to buy stuff in RuneScape. You had to get to the actual world, and then when you did, you go to Falador Park, and it would be kind of like broken up, right? You'd have like by the pond is where the barrows sold. Up against the wall is where the discontinued items sold, like Santa hats, party hats, and all that fun stuff. And then you had by the bank is where runes would be sold. Anyways, it was kind of cool that it all kind of broke out to its actual areas, but it was kind of a pain. Like, it was so easy to flip, I think, because it was really you just had to be like instead of having a monopoly of the grand exchange of like every item basically, back then you just had to have enough. They had a monopoly of the items that were around you, and if you're trying to buy like Darox, there might be like 4 people trying to trade it. So you were just able to undercut them basically if you wanted to stand out. But anyways, it sucked. It got merged all the time. Scams would happen all the time. But it was kind of cool. Like, you didn't have to just go to Falador Park. That was the main hub. That was like the grand exchange back then. You could also go to like Varrock in World 2. And the one thing that I think I miss the most is bank sales. Again, they're kind of inefficient, but it was like going to a yard sale in real life, right? You just show up, they threw a bank sale was like, they would take a bunch of items, I guess they wanted to sell and clean out, and they would just have a bank sale, and then you would trade them, and they'd show you everything in their inventory. And then you'd be like, how much for the Dragon Medium helmet? And they'd be like, 850k. And then you'd be like, how about 700? And they're like, no, thank you. And then you guys would just walk. I don't know if did anyone ever buy anything? I don't know, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun to kind of look at bank sales and stuff. But when old school RuneScape came out, so they didn't have the grand exchange. But what ended up happening was they basically made a grand exchange third-party website through Zzzz, Zzzz.net, I think it was. So you would just go in there, you'd post listings, and then you have to go meet up with people. And so it was basically having like a inefficient grand exchange. And the thing that I hated the most about that was you would meet up with someone. Let's say you were selling, I don't know, whatever, a dragon longsword for 100k. This is what always happened. You'd meet up with them and they'd say, I only have 90k. And you're like, oh man, we agreed on 100k, but I just spent 5 minutes meeting up with you. It's kind of a pain. And then the person would win. So it became like this. A lot of people started like undercutting when you went to meet up, and it was a huge pain in the ass. And it was just annoying. When I played Maple Story, I used to love. I think we talked about it last episode, reminiscing a little bit about Maple Story. But they had the same thing. They had a grand exchange that was through another third-party site, and you would put in when you wanted to buy items, you had to like figure out a way to meet up, and it was fun at the time. But we were younger. We had kids. We were kids, and we had like 8 hours to kill after school. We had like so much time, so much free time. Whereas now it's like, I don't want to spend 2 hours trying to buy a whip. I just want to freaking buy it and then move on. And then buying quest items or like small items were like impossible to buy. Like people would sell almost like quest kits where it's like, oh, here's all the items for a cook's assistant, right? It's a big pain, but yeah, I saw some people posting about it. It had me like almost like reminiscing a little bit, and I love that there was a point in time that a lot of us remember of no grand exchange. But God, like it would suck to go back to those days, wouldn't it? The grand exchange just streamlines everything, and plus they're throwing on a tax and all that stuff too, which is pretty nice. Anyways, a little trip down memory lane. Oh man, and remember you go on the forums to buy some things sometimes, and then they would want to meet up right outside the Wilderness. Oh my God, so many times people try to scam me. They'd be like, you go there and they're like, meet me at Edgeville, right by the Wilderness. And you're like, okay. This guy's gonna try to freaking scam. This guy's gonna try to lure me. Oh my God, they're so bad at it. Anyways, okay, let's guys, if you want to support the show, a few ways of doing that. I would say the number one way of doing that is by heading over to patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. You get some access to some bonus content. If you're a top tier supporter, you get a big shout out on each episode. You get a cool little badge on Discord and in the clan if you're in either of those. So yeah, if you want a little bit more Wilderness content, head on over to the Wilderness Podcast. We watch some of the live streams together, the Jagex Q&A live streams. I've been doing these episodes called Dilz Diary. It's kind of a cheesy name. I'm not really too into it, but basically just random episodes of different topics. I just posted one earlier this week about just talking about the Ultimate Iron Man puzzle. I talked about it a couple episodes ago, but just kind of going more in detail about the UIM puzzle and the difference I found between a regular UIM and a normal UIM, kind of comparing it to like game genres. One's like a puzzle game, one's like a resource management game. If that sounds interesting, head on over to patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. So I want to welcome Andrew Nicole and Chandler to the Patreon crew this week, and a big shout out to all of our top tier supporters: Gentanu, Splimo, Szechuan, Strosity, Mallard, Twisted Soul, J Blast, Z Space, Chandler. Thank you guys so much for the support. But hey, if Patreon is not your thing, but you still want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz. We can do that instead. So thank you to Caradoc, MF Hugh, Angie666 for keeping me caffeinated this week. I appreciate it. But of course, some people just want to boost up the Discord server. They want the Discord server to have that sweet old 1080p 60 FPS when you're streaming videos, when you're streaming on Discord. So thank you to Battle Staffs, Anels, Chick, and Should've for boosting the server. You guys are awesome. If you're not in the Discord server, but maybe you want to join, you can do discord.gg/thewilderness to join. We got a lot of cool stuff. We play Magic the Gathering together. We of course hang out and play RuneScape. Halo just dropped, so a bunch of people have been playing Halo together. We played Escape from Tarkov in the past. Anyways, it's a lot of fun. We do some Dungeons and Dragons as well. So if you know that sounds fun, come on over to the Discord. It's anyone's welcome, and we got bingo coming up. So if that sounds fun, you'll have to join the Discord for that as well. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's it. Let's head back on over to the rest of the episode. All right, we are back. So if you guys want to join the Discord, that's where a lot of the happenings are going on. It's discord.gg/TheWildernessPodcast. Definitely jump in there. Bingo is being prepped. It is coming together, isn't it?
Oh yeah. the best time of the year, not Christmas, the day after when bingo starts.
Oh yeah.
Joking, I absolutely love Christmas, but yeah, bingo is an absolute blast.
Yeah, family dinner, no way. Bust out your phone, get some grinding done.
Well, yeah, it's the week after Christmas. My girlfriend will be going back to work, so I'll be grinding.
Nice.
Really looking forward to this year's bingo. We've freshened up the board a lot. There's been a sort of a large collaboration this time, and we've changed out more than half the tiles. So, I mean, you're still going to have a lot of your favorites in there, but there are going to be some spicy ones.
Oh yeah, and there was a big turnout last time. What, like 60 people?
Oh yeah, 60 people, 65 I think, and all levels of players. Like you have end game players, you got Iron Man, you got people that are level 70. There's tiles for everyone to be sort of accessing. Just like one of the favorites was get a full barrow set. That's still on the board. That's something that pretty much most players can do, even very early into the game. Yeah, and it's always helpful for your team, even if you can only play like a couple hours, like an hour a day or even less. Yeah, we balance the teams based on how many hours you can play. So yeah, totally sign up if you haven't done it before. I guarantee you'll have fun.
Yeah, so join the Discord. Keep an eye out there. There's a link in the description as well. And I know since the last one, we've had a bunch of people join saying, "Hey, I want to get in on the bingo." So they happen. It's like pre-release, but for RuneScape. Happens a couple times a year. Yeah,
it's just, I don't know. It's very hard to describe how fun bingo is, man. Like you just get to meet new people, you get to do new content, and it sort of brings purpose to the things you're grinding for. And you get to celebrate them with your friends or your newfound friends at the same time.
And if you're in a main account, you get that iron experience where you grind out, you're not just grinding out money, you're grinding out full barrows. That's you sell, you don't keep, you sell it at the end. You know what I mean? You make a bit of money from it. Barrow's not a huge one, but there's definitely, Theater of Blood and other content that you can run that will help for bingo, and you'll get a bunch of money afterwards.
If you've never heard three people in voice chat screaming when they've gotten a Sears ring drop, then you haven't played bingo.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good time. I think we'll release the board's pretty much ready and the rules are they're the same as last time. We will be releasing it earlier this year so people will have a chance to sign up. So
cool.
Look for it early December for the sign up.
Sweet stuff. We do a whole bunch of other events. We do skills of the week and all that too. So if you're in the Discord, you'll see an announcement for it. Keep an eye out for it when you can sign up and all that jazz. We have an in-game clan Wild. We also have Wild CC, the friends chat. So you can join either one of them if you're in the. Definitely recommend the clan if you're not in one. That's where most people are. And it's if you're not in a clan, join a clan. It'll make the game so much better. Even if you're just lurking and just want to watch people talk. I do that a bunch. I don't always talk. I just watch other people conversate, and just makes the game better.
There's always someone streaming.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we have a Twitter at TheWildernessRS. If you're into that as well, and of course,
is that dead content, or do you actually tweet?
No, I don't really. I tweet the episodes out usually.
Okay, nice. That's not bad.
I used to tweet more, and we even had a Facebook group I used to be more active in, but it's just way too much to manage. Doing the podcast, you're doing Twitter, all this other stuff too. It's just too much.
Yeah, I feel that. Hey, Dilz, I'm proud of you. You made it through a whole episode without mispronouncing any words.
You know what? There's a few times that I'm like this. If I do it fast enough, nobody's gonna notice.
You see, there you go. There wasn't anything so glaring that I have to stop you. Whatever conversation.
Every time I go to say the Tomb of a Masket, I stop and I go Tomb Raider, Tomb of a Masket. That's my new way of thinking it. Not Tome. It's Tomb Raider. That's my. My. Anyways, I still, when I need to go left, I hold my hands up and look for the L. Those little tricks get me through life.
Yep.
Slowly but surely. Oh, last thing, we got an email address, TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. You can write in and say whatever you want. Most of the times we read it. So yeah, feel free to send in some stories, some questions, whatever it is. That's the email address. You got anything you want to mention before we get out of here? Any or music track you want to shout out?
Nothing to mention besides join the Discord, of course. I don't know. Let's go with a classic, Dills. Let's go with Al Kharid, old school.
I can already hear that playing in my head.
Made some 10 GP slide through the gate
besides the song Autumn, is it Autumn? That kind of turns on when you go over the bridge to where the goblins are. I think the Alcarad soundtrack is one of the most iconic ones. When I was a kid playing it like I hear, I can instantly picture myself going there for the first time, getting that newsletter from that like paper boy at the entrance.
Like the kid,
yeah, you get that to like, I forget what it was, but or you're there mining coal, whatever it is. Oh, it's iconic. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.